What is going on, my Super Sandwiches? Rhymestyle here, and today I'm joined by C Reacts.
Don't start this. We're having a nice talk about Xenoverse 2, okay? So don't get your blasphemy going.
Just trying to trigger you before we fight in Xenoverse. But first, we have to make a discussion because Xenoverse 2 has some competitive changes.
A lot.
And, yeah. So, first and foremost, I do want to point out that this is still based off of early builds, alpha builds at that. The beta build will be available in October, as you guys already know. October 8th to the 10th is a closed beta. And then October 14th to the 16th is going to be the open beta. That's a beta. Everything prior to that is an alpha. Can you please, using your game expertise since you work at a game company, can you let me know what the difference between alpha and a beta is? Real fast.
An alpha is like pre-cum for the beta. I'm sorry, that was disgusting. An alpha is just exactly what it sounds like. It's the thing before the beta. So I mean, a beta is already an extremely early version of the game. So an alpha is before even the beta. So it's like very, very kind of like rough around the edges sort of vibe to it.
Right. So obviously by the time the main build comes out on October 25th to 28th in Europe and November 2nd in Japan, there might be some more changes we made last minute. But based on what we saw, we noticed a bunch of competitive differences that's going to change the gameplay around completely. And we're not just talking about new features such as the stamina break and the reverse dash, which, by the way, thank you God for reverse dash. It's so beautiful. What I'm talking about specifically... Oh yeah, no more runners. We said this 1,000 times before.
I can't wait.
What I'm talking about specifically is certain status changes or how stuff works. For example, now you can't do what's that? Phantom Fist? Phantom Fist and After Image.
We don't know for sure about Phantom Fist, but we can assume just because of After Image takes key now, and Phantom Fist is in the same kind of like field of
correct
After Image, so we can only assume that After Image Strike, Phantom Fist, all those kind of like evasive but not really evasive moves, you guys know what we're talking about, are now going to take key, whereas before they did not.
Yeah. On top of that, we have certain moves such as the Solar Flare, which now takes 2 key bars. You guys remember how annoying Solar Flare? That's a huge deal, because Solar Flare was annoying in Xenoverse 1. I mean, I annoyed...
It was abused. Like, yeah, I mean, Solar Flare was... I have no idea. Like, I don't know. It's very surprising that it got through without using key bars in Xenoverse 1, just because somebody teleports behind you, Solar Flare. Somebody teleports behind you, Solar Flare.
No, so Solar Flare takes key. Solar Flare took key in Xenoverse 1.
In Xenoverse 1?
Yeah, it took key. It was just annoying.
Oh, okay. Now it takes 2 key bars. Okay.
Yeah, After Image. Yeah,
After Image.
Yeah, After Image, instant transmission, stuff like that took no key, and that was yikes. But that's been obviously changed, and I'm hoping it does stay like that in the main build. And also, what I want to talk about, the big one, is I noticed in the gameplay that was shown this past weekend at TGS, it showed off your opponent's stamina and key during a battle.
Yeah.
Now, I posted a poll on Twitter. No, it wasn't a logo. It was like an online environment type of match.
Yep.
Now, I posted a poll about this on Twitter, and it was pretty dead even when it came down to people saying it was a good idea versus a bad idea. Do you want to kind of talk about the cons and pros real fast about why it's a bad thing to see stamina, but it's also kind of good?
Yeah, to see somebody's stamina. I mean, all right. We'll start with, I wouldn't say it's cons. I wouldn't say pros or cons. It's one of those things that we're going to have to just kind of like sit back, wait, and feel it out, see how, you know, how it actually works in game. But I know
so let's talk about Xenoverse 1 then. Let's talk about Xenoverse 1 first. So in Xenoverse 1, how like what is the pros and cons of not being able to see stamina? Let's start there.
Okay. So in Xenoverse 1, not being able to see your opponent's stamina adds a whole new, like, not a new, but like it adds this strategic kind of mental game to it. Like, I know for me, like if I had very, very low stamina, what a lot of people do, like some people are very obvious. Like if I see somebody starting to drift back, throw key blast, then it's like, okay, they obviously have low stamina. Whereas with me and, you know, some other players, you know, it just depends on your play style. I'll get really aggressive when I have low stamina to kind of give off the impression like, oh, he must have a lot of stamina. That's why he's coming at me this way.
Right.
But it's all just a mental game. So if you remove that, you know, it potentially, I'm not saying it does, I'm not saying it doesn't. We'll have to see how it works in game. But that sort of realm, that sort of mental realm where you can like actually kind of bluff or fake out your opponent, is you can just see it in Xenoverse 2. So you can see like, oh, he has no stamina, I'm going at him. You know, normally in Xenoverse 1 you depend on, oh, you know, somebody's guarding, you're punching their guard, and then it starts to turn red. You know you're about to break their stamina, sort of thing. So I don't know. Again, we'll have to wait and see how it actually works in game. But what are your thoughts? I don't know.
Well, from my experience, it's both a good and bad thing. The bad thing, obviously, is if indeed is the same way that we saw at TGS where you can't see your opponent's stamina. I mean, the argument here is everyone says, well, every other game does it that way. And that's fair, but this is not every other game. This is Dragon Ball. This is its own realm, its own lane. This is its own game.
Yeah.
And the bad thing with being able to see stamina is now it makes it a bit easier to rush in. Like when I'm fighting Danny, for example, or you, a lot of times I hesitate to jump in because I know you're gonna just snap finish out of the way and just beat my ass. Like I have to look at my stamina and make sure that I have at least 4 or 6 bars, so
Right.
I can snap out of that and kind of abort if I have to when I jump in. But now that I can see you have no stamina, I know every single time to rush in. It's like Storm 4.
Yeah.
In Storm 4, the second you see someone run out of their sub bars, you run in, you beat that ass.
Yes, exactly. Like, oh, no substitutions. Blah, blah, blah. I've seen Afro do it a million times. But
Yes.
another thing.
It's a double-edged sword. I was gonna say it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Now that we do see stamina, it will make you have to fight smarter. Now I'm going to be less likely to want to use up on my stamina that way because I know you can see my stuff now, and it's
My
kind
stuff.
of yeah. Actually, it's kind of like Dragon Ball Z. Like think of it this way: you can sense my energy, my stamina, my ki, and all that stuff, and it makes it more realistic, I guess, in the Dragon Ball realm. But at the same time, it makes me have to adjust to that system. So now it's like before where I had the safe hand where I can kind of bluff my
Right.
way. I'll go ahead, rush in. I dare you to rush in, and then I actually can't do anything in the end. I have to rely on perfect blocks. Now it's kind of like, oh snaps, he sees my stuff. I should probably not.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. Like you'll have to be more cautious. You'll have to be a lot more aware of like what does yours like. If I see my stamina's low and I know my opponent can see it, then
Right.
I'm not gonna rush in anymore because, like I said before, they couldn't see it. I'm gonna rush in because you can throw them off. They don't know what to think. They have no idea. Like it's this whole little small mental game you play with your opponent. And I also wanted to add that Xenoverse 2, as we have seen as the biggest thing about Xenoverse 2 is connecting combos, good hit detection, you can follow up things with different blasts, various moves, etc., etc. And with that said, if people can see my stamina, so if I can see your stamina is super low, and we have the functionality of Xenoverse 2 at our grasp, which means you can connect basically infinite combos until you can snap vanish out of it. This game is so dangerous. This game is so offensively intensive.
Yep.
You can knock your opponent to the ground. If they have no stamina, you can throw something at them and you'll know when they have no stamina. And it's, I don't know, it's so dangerous to run out of stamina in this game. I feel like there's going to be a lot of quick KOs. There's going to be those 10 seconds or less kills. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
It could also be good because now that you can see your stamina, again, I'm trying to sit on both sides. It also makes you change up your fight style completely because now you can use different moves to kind of bait your opponent into using up the stamina.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's just like in Storm. You want your opponent to use up all their sub bars so you can jump in and punish them. And again, it's both a good and bad thing. I mean, it's obviously different from Xenoverse, but I mean, it's got to be different. You gotta be able to jump into this game and adjust completely and change your fight style completely as opposed to the previous game. So
Right.
it's both a good and bad thing. Now, the first question I want to ask the people: if we do end up getting the system where we can see your opponent's ki and stamina, is that a good or bad thing to you, and why? I want you to drop your comments down below.
And really
on that.
think this through. I know there's a lot of people who I feel like if anything is different or if anything is too drastically different, they automatically, because yes, and hear me out, I too, when I first heard about this, I was like, really? That changes quite a bit. But really analyze this, see it like we're doing now. We're looking at both sides of the spectrum, why it could be good, why it could be bad. So matter of fact, I'm not, give us your pros and cons. Actually, I want to see what you guys think is good, what you guys think is bad, and then maybe your overall synopsis. So I want some beautiful articles in the comment section.
I'm curious to see what people are going to say, because obviously you got your competitive players, you got your casual players, and there's even players who have never even played online, which I've surprisingly have seen a lot of people talk about that on Twitter with me.
Me too.
Yesterday.
They're like, maybe I'll actually play online now. I was like, wow, you've had this game for 2 years and never played it online?
There are people who don't play online, surprisingly. Now, I will point this out. As of right now, we don't know all the changes, and when the game ultimately comes out in October, it's going to be kind of our job as a community to kind of keep an eye on what's broken, what needs to be nerfed. So, of course, also, whenever the game comes out, there's going to be the portal, which Bandai hasn't launched yet. I think the way Bandai US and Japan are doing it, it's going to be kind of differently. But whenever the game comes out, there's going to be a way to send feedback directly to fix certain things, nerf stuff, and kind of keep an eye on what's broken. So when that comes out, make sure you guys send all your feedback across the board and get heard, essentially. But what I'm happy about is
they will listen. They'll listen. I feel like a lot of people are discouraged because they believe things that they say is gonna go unheard, like, oh, millions of people are talking, but the only way you'll get heard is if you make noise. So I mean, just don't be afraid to talk about whatever
like,
you have issues with.
To everybody that's still like hoping that the hair thing happens, who knows? Maybe in the future they might address it, because to those who don't know, Super Saiyan hair is similar to how it was in Xenoverse 1, where once you transform, it just changes the color into gold as opposed to spiking up and stuff. I mean, if you guys are really passionate about something like that, when that portal goes live, I need everybody to just like send that feedback across. Like, when there's certain things in this game that aren't in the game from the start, that doesn't mean it's over. It just means that you have to really send your feedback together and like really come together as an army and show Bandai and Dims that like we want this.
Yep.
So just like how, you know, when stuff happens in Xenoverse 1, like I remember when they had all those crazy bugs, it was us as a community who rallied together and sent that feedback across and got them to fix it. So
just think about Death Ball, think about Super Vanishing Ball, like all of the if you played in the early days of Xenoverse, you know how scary those fucking moves were, and now they're not useless, but they're on par with other Ultimates. So that again, that was community feedback did that. So I mean, what the community can do is really limitless.
Yeah. But as of right now, obviously not everybody has played Xenoverse 2, especially from the competitive side of the community. But based on what I'm seeing, this game is going to be a lot more competitive friendly, and that's actually a really good thing. Like, I want to see.
It's going to be scary, man. It's gonna be scary.
It'll be very scary, but it's going to be awesome. I'm excited. I can just, my blood is just pumping through my body right now just thinking about all the awesomeness. I mean, if we can get Xenoverse without the BS, like without the absolute zeros, without the Phantom Fist, without the, you know, the starter pack, I'm OP moves.
The drifts.
The drift. Now it's gonna be all about the competitive fighting. Like, you can't run away anymore. You can't rely on Phantom Fist. You can't rely on Absolute Zero. You can't rely on any of that BS anymore. Even Spirit Ball now lasts half as long as it did in Xenoverse 1. Like,
does it really? I didn't even know that.
They did. It was shown off in one of the videos this past weekend, and it lasts half as long.
Spirit Ball was nasty. That's still the one move in Xenoverse 1 that when I see it, I'm just like, oh fuck, I gotta deal with this shit.
Yeah, no, they definitely seem to have nerfed everything, like, and I'm happy about that. But of course, the game is not going to be perfect when it comes out. Like, you have to understand that even when the beta comes out, it will not be perfect. There's going to be bugs. There's going to be issues. There's going to be nerfing that needs to be done. It's just that when stuff, when as the people say, when shit hits the fan, don't freak out. Just kind of.
That's why it's a beta.
That's why it's a beta, and even with the final version of the game, you got to be able to send that feedback across and let them know what's going on, so they can fix it. Like, the only way they know is if we talk to them, and you know, obviously me, Dion, and everybody in the community that's I guess higher up from like the community side, from influencer side, will do our best to portray that message across and tell them what needs to be done when it comes down to like features, but not just features, but like nerves and stuff, but actual features as well. When that portal opens, it's your chance to send all that feedback across. And I don't know how likely you are to listen to everything. It is literally impossible to listen to everything. I'll just say that. But I don't know how likely you are to address
one of those things,
most of it.
If there's enough feedback on something, like if they're scrolling through, because I imagine it's gonna be sort of like a forum sort of thing. So if they're scrolling through and there's gonna be like, oh, let's just say, for example, Phantom Fist is still like fucked up or something. Just for example, I'm not saying it will, but if they're scrolling through and they see like 5 different Phantom Fists, then they're going to be more likely to press it. So I mean, if everybody's voicing their opinion, the things that are most prominent, where the majority are, you know, complaining about whatever, that's what's going to be noticed. So the only way that's going to happen is if everybody's talking and if everybody is into it, etc., etc.
You gotta make a lot of noise, because I remember before I end this video, when Wahaha Gachi was broken, they fixed it because I made a video about it. I made a video about it addressing this huge bug, which was kind of like scary, because like I basically exposed the bug to a lot of people, because I think that video had like 60,000 views or something like that.
Yeah,
and then everybody.
You tend. The things I'll let you finish, but you've done some things, all right? Let's just say Kaioken and Angry Shout. I've run into some fake cells that's online, and I've had to piece them up. Hey,
you know how to fight them now, though, so I made you stronger. But no, with stuff like Waha Got You, because we as a community came together, we exposed that bug, they got it fixed. So obviously when the game comes out, even when the beta's out, you know, it's important for us to send a message across to know what needs to be balanced, what needs to be worked better. But ultimately, on the competitive side, I feel like Xenoverse 2 is going in the right direction, and I guess I'm excited about that. So we want to hear from you guys, from the competitive fans of the Xenoverse
competitive
community.
Fans.
Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on everything we kind of discussed, what you're excited about and what you're hoping changes. It's also had that in there too. What's another change you hope to see? With me, the one change I want to see is with Absolute Zero, obviously make it work way less powerful like it was in Xenoverse 1. Obviously, the problem with Xenoverse 1 was when you get frozen, you can't snap out of it. It's basically a free hit. So what they could do is, if they do have Absolute Zero come back, they could do it so you can snap vanish out of it when you're frozen and something like that. Similar to how we saw with the Nova Shinron version with the fire, where you can get frozen, but you can also snap out of it.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah. I mean, I have confidence with how they're dealing and everything that they're going to fix most of the issues from Xenoverse 1 as far as OP moves and nerfs. But again, I don't know everything because I haven't seen every single move yet. So for now, I guess this is going to be an open forum in the comment section below to see what people want to see different, and 2, to see your overall thoughts on a new system such as Solar Flare taking more ki, certain ultimate attacks that take 5 ki bars instead of 3. On top of that, you can see your opponent's stamina ki. Like, how do you feel about all that? Let us know in the comment section below.
Let us know how you feel. We're going to be your therapist. We're going to talk you through this. Actually, maybe there's going to be a lot of comments, but comment anyway, and, you know, just let it all out onto the comment section. And I guess that's it for me. I don't know.
Yeah. With that said, if you're hyped for Xenoverse 2 and all that good stuff that's happening over the next couple weeks, make sure you leave a like right below. And I guess Dion and myself will see you on the battlefield in the beta.